Yo, Kyle, even I am impressed that you and I are in these seats in our offices right now. We are back. We are live. We're talking about what happened at NADA, some OEM stuff, and Tesla, of course. Let's talk about Tesla for just a second.
Naturally. It's like we haven't talked about him in 6 days. Fine.
I think I can only talk about him when I'm in this seat. Because I really, literally, I heard zero, like capital O.
I got this text from a buddy. He was like, who was the dumb provider that had the Tesla in their like spin car thing or whatever it was?
No, it was there a Tesla?
What was it? Was it
the one we saw? It was
we saw a Polestar.
Polestar,
there
the
was someone
rack.
with apparently a Tesla like in the middle of their booth. It was like, someone's not paying attention.
Well,
that's funny.
It'd be nice that they had a first and last exhibit at NADA. Good morning, folks on the live stream. David, Larry, whoever else is listening out there that we can't see right now because of the StreamYard setup. What an amazing time we had,
man.
We're back in the saddle.
Unbelievable time. Yeah,
I got I have lots of thoughts.
I know we could probably spend a whole show just recapping everything, but we recognize that there is a whole host of people that weren't even at an NADA show. Just know that my post yesterday on LinkedIn was just, the industry is alive, and not just alive, but vibrant, like thriving. The energy around our industry, there's, all the things you see on the news about recession looming and potential changes and all this stuff. Everybody at NADA was like, no, it's go time. Like, we're going to see it go. And even just being in early in the show at the JD Power thing and starting to see some of like everything came down in November and December. And like, it's like this little curve up trend line in January, right? We've only had a couple weeks in it, but it's just little curve up. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked up zero defensive mentality at NADA.
Absolutely.
Zero defensive mentality. The industry's on the offense, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing for everyone listening this morning that is on the front line. Some people are still probably heading home from NADA, and we cover it because it's a big deal in automotive. It does have broad implications for what's going to happen in the industry. It has broad implications for what's going to happen in your store, because likewise, there were meetings and initiatives and conversations that will like draw either new software providers into your store, or new processes into your store, or just new mindsets into your store. So that's why we give it so much attention. If you want to see a little more of what goes on there, what went on there, you can still go to our Instagram account for a lot of fun behind the scenes stuff if you want to feel for the vibe. So a SO2 events, or just a SO2. And we also have a lot of podcast conversations coming out. One thing that we didn't talk about a lot, we talked a lot about the floor. We talked a lot about, different technology platforms and, what some of the leaders in automotive were saying, but we did not talk about the make meetings. We didn't have a lot of OEM conversations. So we thought it'd be great to just give a little summary of, some things that were reported on that happened in the make meetings, and also some anecdotal stories that we heard from, a number of dealers that were in the meeting. So thought we'd cover that really quickly. And then we're going to talk about a little Tesla thing. And then we're going to get on to our last 2 days of the month, right? Because we're trying to close the month now.
We're trying to close the month.
2 days to close. We're going to rock for it. So what happened in the make meetings and beyond? So we're going to give you a little broad summary. One thing that was pretty notable, and that we also had a nice chance to talk to a number of Ford dealers and family Ford dealers about this, is that restrictions on the lower tier of the EV, I don't want to call it regulations, but if you sign up to be a Ford, Ford, I can't even think, Ford EV dealer, you had the tier 1, and then you had the tier 2. In the lower tier, there was a sales limitation on how many you could sell. There were, regulations on how long your fast charger had to be open. It was actually 24 hours, which is really squirrely in some areas. And Ford, the general feeling we had was that Ford is loosening some restrictions. So it sounds like they're listening to some dealer sentiment.
Yeah, so they're moving to basically a business hours for chargers, so they don't have to be open on Sundays or open overnight. They are changing the ceiling on the number of sold vehicles in a year from 25, which apparently they didn't announce the lift in the ceiling. And then even things like, facilities upgrades and changes to that. So we don't know exact. I think Auto News might have dropped an article about some of the things that they heard. So, but there's definitely a little bit of changes in the wind, and the sentiment, like the anecdotal sentiment, is that they said, oh, it sounds like they listened to the state associations. It sounds like they listened to the dealers, and they're making some changes in line with that, which is healthy, I think. And that's really positive to hear, because I mean, all the shade has been thrown at Ford over the last 6 months. And so for them to come to NADA to the make meetings and go, okay, we got a couple things wrong. Here's where we're going.
Couple other things. Hyundai, they were celebrating the fact that they have gained market share last year, up to 5.2%, up from 4.9 at the end of 2022. They also said, they talked a lot about their cutting their ties to like being a value brand. Hyundai is like, nope, we're delivering premium vehicles with premium tech. We are no longer competing as a low price dealer. That was their roots. That's how they got into the market. But they're saying, hey, we're done with that. Also on Hyundai, now we heard this earlier because there was an early super session with Steve Greenfield and Liza Borges and a number of people on there. And I can't remember who the executive was in Hyundai, but he alluded to like almost like a side comment, almost like the question wasn't even asked, but he knew he wanted to say this. I think it was a man, knew he wanted to say this, but basically mentioned a partnership with Amazon, because Hyundai has been merchandising on Amazon. You could go on Amazon and you still can and cars and look at the Hyundai models, but you couldn't purchase. But he mentioned something about partnering with Amazon so that now there's going to be like a buy car button, and then they can pick the dealer they want it delivered through. Meanwhile, they're still like Hyundai's building a lot of new facilities, requiring new facilities. And so that was kind of like a record scratch moment. And we don't know.
It's a record scratch, like in just the fact that it's now here. To say that OEMs were not going to merchandise and also monetize through Amazon ever, it would have been just silly, right? So I think they're just the first of many that are going to move that way. I mean, it's just a massive shopping platform, and we're going to see more. But the
fact that now you can hit a buy button, a customer in my market can hit a buy button on Amazon, and then like that's going to be a big thing. That's going to be a big thing.
Welcome to being Best Buy and Apple retailer, every other retailer on the planet.
I think it's a lot different than that.
But see, they're still not going to be able to hit buy and complete the whole purchase, because we know.
Oh, no. Yeah, right. The thought that Amazon's going to figure that out. Amazon's big, but still,
I'm going to move ahead because this is. I also have some just notes on this, but grumpy dealers at the Mercedes meeting. You were just saying that the evidence that you got was like there was a little bit of what are they really doing?
I heard from a few people that literally at the meeting, whoever was leading it was like, did somebody die that I'm unaware of? Literally, they said that from the stage. Man. Again, we were not there. We just hearing these things. So just take that for what it's worth. So there's
but the Highlines are probably moving quicker to direct to consumer style sales, or at least the ability to go direct to consumer as a channel. And Mercedes has proven that overseas. Had to listen to the director of digital at the JD Power event, and he was saying, hey, look, we recognize that there may be people coming through the tier 1 channel or the tier 2 or the tier 3 channel, and we're going to give them the option to purchase at every, he was very clear that that's coming. There was no maybe they might do it. So these Highlines are definitely going to press the boundaries on that a lot quicker, I feel like.
So here's one. I love this. This is just two guys talking. I'm going to say that 7 more times why we're saying this, because we were not in the meetings, right?
Yes, so we were not in the meetings, except for the JD Power meeting. I was there.
That's true. That's true. No, I mean, we weren't in the make meetings.
Yes, exactly.
But I heard that the Honda meeting was it was quite sporty. The very first, really? I heard I heard they were just peppering the team on stage with questions, and from right out of the gate, just going right for it. The first question was about Sony Honda Venture, right? And the Afeela vehicle. And they went in hard, I heard.
I'm sure.
And, what's the deal with this? What are your plans to leverage your dealer network? And as far as I heard, the answer from the executive team was Sony is their own company. We don't have any control over Sony, which is a total dodge answer.
Way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I don't know. It's the guy that isn't here. We're going to blame the guy that isn't here. That's always a great strategy. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot to figure out. A couple other things. Nissan, gave dealers a note that the popular Ariya model is just going to be tight on supply. It's very popular and, people still trying to catch up. So, look.
Yeah. According
it's like
to
a real family, right?
To 2 Nissan dealers that I know, it's not as popular as you think, just as a note. So that's only 2 though in the whole country, but tight supply. We can't get them off the lots.
We say that automotive is a family business, and if this doesn't sound like a family business,
it sounds like a night at Thanksgiving table, right?
I don't know what does. Yeah. Charlie, finally on the kind of make meetings, and we'll move on. But Charlie Hall is the VW National Dealer Advisory Council chair, and this doesn't come from a make meeting, but it's about VW. And he's advocating heavily to sell the Scout vehicle brand in their stores. Now, we've talked about the Scout quite a bit. Big fans of the design and like reviving a brand and doing all that. But Charlie said this. We'll read a quote. He said, "We were completely caught off guard with the announcement about Scout. And then the lack of information that came after the announcement. Said, we want Scout vehicles to be in our VW showrooms." He said VW dealers have been requesting for decades the types of vehicles that Scout plans to launch. They have small pickups, right? A little more rugged, a little larger. The brand's existing dealer network can execute the Scout vision, and we have an idea of what that is because we share the same vision. We've been looking for that kind of product to be in our showroom for a long time, and it dovetails perfectly with the rest of our lineup. I believe it. VW dealers understand brand.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, the VW purchaser is going to want to go to a dealer to ask all about this. And I'm sure they're already getting questions on the showrooms today. And let's just end with this. The reality that in the Toyota meeting, no questions. No questions. Everybody's got questions. Everybody's a little grumpy, but every Toyota dealer that we said Toyota got off the stage and there were 0 questions from the crowd.
To which every executive that was on a stage at a make meeting was like, "Yo, they hiring over there?"
Cold-blooded,
man. Hey, man, that's not cold-blooded. Who doesn't want to work for a place where there's great communication, that the sales channel is aligned? You get it, right? Like they get it, and it just is what it is, right? I think everybody's going to find their way in a different way, but hey, no questions at a make meeting is definitely the envy of the industry right now. I have to say that. I was
speaking of a place where there are a lot of questions.
Wrong button. I can't remember my buttons anymore.
Monday after NADA, hang out with us.
Touch this roadcaster in a week.
Oh man. So Elon Musk says not to expect meaningful production of the long-awaited Cybertruck until now, 2024. I think it's like his 33rd time that they've pushed this back. He said the start of production is always very slow. Mr. Musk said on an earnings call, adding, "So I wouldn't put too much stock in start of production. It's kind of when does volume production actually happen? And that's next year." So production kind of begins this year. It ramps up next year, but they're already working on a new platform to be released in March. I'm telling you what, the earnings call must have gone good, though, because Tesla stock for 3 straight days at the end of last week was bumping. So I don't think people are really hanging on the Cybertruck as the end all be all.
Profits were up 59%. That's why.
It's nuts. Yeah. Yeah.
So wild. I don't know. Everybody's got a thing. Look. We're going to get our voices back a little bit today. I lost mine last night because I watched the Eagles game in Dallas. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to yell a little bit. I'm going to preserve my voice all week. Unfortunately, our Bengals-Eagles Super Bowl dreams were crushed. I was on the plane home watching that game. Had to end the Monday
pod with that, didn't you? Lift me up, Paul. Lift me up. Lift me up somewhere.
But here's the good news. The auto industry will be around when the Bengals win a Super Bowl. I don't know.
It will.
I was going to start with that, but man, so does that mean you're an Eagles fan now, right? For the Super Bowl?
No.
Let's crush the Chiefs, baby.
Let's crush the Chiefs.
Let's go, automotive.
Let's go.